Welcome to the Muscle Building Mastery podcast, where guys that want to build muscle come to learn how to do it properly. We understand that there's more to building muscle than mindlessly throwing weights around and chugging mass gainer shakes. We're not interested in quick fixes or anabolic assistance. We're interested in mastering the art, science and skill set required to stack on real muscle and strength. My name's Andy Clements, and for the last 12 years I've devoted my life to figuring out how guys like us who don't have amazing genetics, don't have 5 hours a day to spend in the gym, and don't want to take steroids as a shortcut can build insane amounts of muscle and strength in weeks and months, not years and decades. This podcast is the result of all the lessons I've learned along the way, and it will give you the blueprint to building more muscle in less time. To get you started, head to www.musclebuildingmastery.net to download your free 6-week workout plan. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 51 of the Muscle Building Mastery podcast. My name is Andy Clements, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the 80-20 rule as it applies to muscle building. So the 80-20 rule is something I learned about a little while ago, and I think that it has a massive application to loads of areas of life, and it kind of dawned on me yesterday while I was training that actually the 80-20 rule does have a big application in muscle building. And if you don't know what the 80-20 rule is, this is kind of a bit of an overview of it, right? So in kind of the late 1800s, I think it was like 1890 something, 1894 or something like that, there was an economist from Italy named Vilfredo Pareto, right? You don't need to remember that name. It was called Pareto. And he sort of began to show in loads of different areas of life how, in his opinion, 80% of consequences came from 20% of causes, right? Let me say that again. I know this is a bit abstract, so it doesn't seem very relevant to muscle building, but stay with me. 80% of consequences in life come from 20% of causes, right? So, for example, supposedly how this originated in this Pareto guy's mind was that he supposedly noticed one day in his back garden that 20% of the pea plants in his garden were producing 80% of the healthy pea pods, right? So he sort of noticed this trend that 80% of the healthy pea pods that he was getting from his back garden were coming from just 20% of the plants. And he kind of like started playing with this idea from here. And then he started taking it to a bigger scale. He started looking at the whole sort of population of Italy, and he noticed that about 80% of the Italian land was owned by just 20% of the people, right? And that started, becoming more and more and more relevant, and he started applying it to more and more different things. And then fast forward to like the sort of 1940s, and there was a management consultant who took Pareto's word and he started developing the ideas and popularizing them in business circles, and eventually what it became known as was Pareto's principle, right? So Pareto principle, which is more commonly known, as I'm referring to it here, as the 80-20 rule, states that roughly 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts, right? So that's an easier way of saying 80% of consequences come from 20% of causes. 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. So that means that 80% of a business's income comes from 20% of its customers, most likely, right? Or there or thereabouts. Like a business will make most of its money from just a few of its customers, and the remaining 20% of its income will come from the 80% of its customers who just spend a little bit, right? So that's how it applies in business. In healthcare, 80% of spending in healthcare can be attributed to just 20% of hospital patients. Those 20% of patients that need so much care that the spending of the hospitals go primarily on them. The other 80% of the hospital patients don't need as much care, so they don't need as much spending, right, for the operations and for the the cost of putting them up or whatever, the medication or whatever it is, right? 80% of healthcare spending is just on 20% of hospital patients, and so on and so forth. So it kind of applies across a wide array of different areas of life, as you can see. Now, you're probably thinking 4 or 5 minutes into this podcast, what relevance does this have to you and does it have to muscle building? And this is where I'm getting to now, right? So I would argue, based on my experience, and like I say, based on what kind of dawned on me when I was in the gym yesterday, is that 80% of your results in the gym come from just 20% of what you're doing for most people, right? Now, not for everybody, but most people kind of mess around and they do a few important movements and then they just do a bunch of filler work, right? They just do a load of extra unnecessary work to get a pump and to fill their time. Some people work out for like 2 or 3 hours at a time, and 80% of what they're doing is complete bullshit. They just don't need to do it, right? It's the 20% of what they're doing is where they're getting their results from. So I'm not saying these extra kind of filler exercises are useless. I'm not saying they don't have an application, because they do, and I do some kind of extra, pump work, blood volumization stuff, for want of a better word, myself. But, if you were to just focus and maximize on that 20% of stuff that's giving you the 80% of your results, can you imagine how much you'd see a huge jump in your gains in your muscle building, right? You would see a massive, massive jump. So if you're trying to get bigger overall, you're trying to grow your body, and you're spending most of your time doing things like pec flies and bicep curls and side raises, you're wasting your time, right? This is the filler exercises I'm talking about. The big, heavy, primal movements that, when done properly, are the 20% of stuff that are going to result in 80% of your muscle building results, right? That's just how it is. The stuff like your overhead presses, the stuff like your pull-ups or your pull-downs, the stuff like your horizontal press, like your bench press, or your dumbbell press and your machine press, or your horizontal row, and your leg presses and your squats and your deadlifts and your RDLs and your rack pulls and all those different big primal compound movements, those things where you can load them up and you can get a big sort of bang for your buck, those are the things that are going to get you the most of your results. And those are the things that your entire workout plan should be built around. You should program these things in, no matter if you're doing a full body workout plan or an upper low workout plan or a push pull legs or your chest and back or a back and biceps, chest and triceps, whatever it is, right? No matter what kind of workout split you're following, these are the big compound lifts that your workout plan should be built around. You shouldn't be building your workout plans around side raises. You shouldn't be building your workout plans around pec flies, right? It's not how it works. Big, heavy compound lifts done properly are the entire game, right? Because this is literally how we build muscle, it's how we build strength. So build your entire workout plan around those movements and you won't go far wrong. If you're spending most of your time doing the fluffy stuff, you're not going to get to where you want to be. So that's just a few thoughts on the 80-20 rule and how it applies to muscle building. And I genuinely think that, although those smaller movements have a place, you can sort of sprinkle them around the big movements. So those big movements that I've just mentioned, like the vertical press, the vertical pull, the horizontal press, the horizontal pull, the leg press, the squat, the deadlift, the big a big heavy pull of some sort, like an RDL or a rack pull or a sumo deadlift or something that's lower back loading. These things don't have to mean that you do that exact exercise. When I say an overhead press, you don't have to do a military press. You don't have to do a dumbbell press. You can do any sort of overhead press that suits your body that you prefer. You can rotate them. You don't have to do a pull up. You could do a pull down. You could do a single arm pull down. You could do a hammer strength pull down. You could do, any of the above. You could do a chin up. As long as you're doing something in that plane. And then, for a horizontal press, everybody's married to the bench press. But you don't have to do the bench press. You can do the dumbbell press. You can do the Smith machine press. You could do the seated machine press. You could do whatever it is. that suits your body, or even whatever it is that you enjoy. Like last time on the podcast, we spoke a bit about how important it is to enjoy what you're doing. So pick a movement that you enjoy, like, horizontal row. Do you enjoy a bent over row, or is that, is that something that is going to put you off the gym? Like, would you rather do a T-bar row? Would you rather do an incline row? Would you rather do a Smith machine row? Like, do what you enjoy, but also stick to the framework of what works. The same with a squat, like I've spoke about on the podcast, I'm sure, before, about squats. Like, you don't have to do a back squat. You can do a hack squat, you could do a V squat, you could do a front squat, you could do a dumbbell squat, you could do a SSB squat, you could do whatever it is that you prefer and what suits your body. But you do, when it's all said and done, if you want to grow big legs, have to squat in some form or another, in my opinion. So yeah, generally build your workout plans around those big movements, and then sprinkle the extra 20% of fluffy stuff, is what I'm going to call it, like the flies and the side raises and the leg extensions and the leg curls and the calf press. Sprinkle that in. Like, you can do that, but that shouldn't be the focus of your workout. The focus of your workout should be those big heavy movements. Maximize on the 20% that's giving you the 80% of your results, and you will see much quicker, much faster progress, both in strength and in overall muscle building, physique development. So I hope that was useful, guys. If you want to know some more about how to set up a workout plan for this kind of rapid progress, then check out my online course, Training Mastery. Training Mastery teaches you how to go from being a complete beginner to a pretty advanced athlete who's capable of building muscle in way quicker time, and it's really not that expensive. So jump on musclebuildingmastery.net/training mastery, and you can grab your copy of Training Mastery online video course today. So I hope that was useful, guys, and I'll speak to you next time on the Muscle Building Mastery podcast. Bye. If you're ready to stop wasting time in the gym and start mastering the skill of muscle building, go check out www.musclebuildingmastery.net to download your free 6-week muscle building workout plan. I have specifically formulated this workout plan to take you through the 3 stages of mastering your body, layering on a more advanced training methodology each week as you progress. That means that regardless of where you are with your training right now, this plan will push you forward and help you stack on more muscle and strength in just 6 weeks. So head to www.musclebuildingmastery.net now to grab your free 6-week workout plan.